Hi students, this is your instructor Megan, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to Journalism 368 online. I'll talk about the goals of the course as well as the setup of the course and what you'll be doing for credit in the class. So first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Megan McNames and I'm an instructor of journalism and digital media here at Ball State. I've been teaching at Ball State since 2008 and I've been teaching online since 2011. And this is the first time that I'm teaching 368 online, although I've taught it in person for I think 3 years. I've taught it several times in person, so I'm really excited to be bringing it to the online delivery system. Let's take a look at what the course is going to look like online. Journ368, Public Relations, Publications, Design, and Production, is all about institutional and industrial publications as an important means of internal and external communications. So basically in this class you're going to be looking at design and production techniques. In the in-person class this includes lab time. Obviously for the online class you do everything at home, so you have plenty of lab time. But in this class, you're going to learn how to use professional file management and online collaboration practices through Google Docs. You're going to learn and apply graphic design concepts for visual communication. You're going to learn and apply web design concepts for web communication. You're going to employ a variety of publication production techniques, so you'll be using several different pieces of software. You're going to build a client website and public relations materials for that website. You're going to learn professional best practices for content and design, and overall this course is presented as a digital content strategy and content publishing course, so you'll be creating and implementing a content strategy. Now I saw last year I was digging through archives of photos from the department and I saw a photo of students in the 1970s who were in the middle of this class, 368. And in the 70s, what they were doing is they were creating newsletters. They were writing newsletter content and then laying out newsletters and presenting that for class credit. And really what you're doing here is kind of the same thing. You're doing a content strategy. You're determining, how to communicate with people, and then you're going to craft messages in that strategy, that use that strategy you've come up with, and then you're going to publish them, except in this class we're focusing heavily on online publications. So we're pretty much doing the same thing the class has always done, but we're going to look at the digital world because that's where communications is going. That's the trend. That's where the trend has been for several years. In this class, you'll need several pieces of software, including InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator. These are all available in on-campus labs, and if you are an off-campus student, you're responsible for obtaining access to the software. You can buy it from the Ball State Tech Store for $330. I really don't suggest this unless you want this software for some reason, you want to continue using it in the next few years. If you're interested in doing any kind of design as a career or as a side job or just for fun, then this is probably a good strategy for you. But if you aren't interested in pursuing design as a career or hobby, I probably would not suggest spending $330 on these pieces of software. What you can do instead is you can now rent Adobe Creative Cloud for $30 a month. So for $30 a month, and they're changing their prices all the time, so hopefully it will still be $30 a month, but they have educational pricing that is lower. I think generally for professionals it's $50 a month. It should be about $30 for a student, but for $30 a month you can rent from Adobe what's called Creative Cloud, which means you'll have access online to all Adobe software products. So InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator. So that's a great option for those of you who aren't really sure if this is something, if you want to stick with design, if you want to continue using these programs. You can pay $30 a month for this semester, and if you decide that it's not for you, then you can cancel that subscription at any time. You also can download trials of these software as needed. You can download trials of InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator for free, and those trials will last for 30 days, so you can sort of be strategic about how and when you download the trials. For example, we're not using Illustrator until week 5. Well, actually, yes, so week 5, so you can download it in week 5 and you'll have it for an entire month. If you aren't quite sure how to procure this software, or you have some of the software that's maybe older, you're just not quite sure if you have what you need, please let me know as soon as possible and I would be glad to answer any questions that you have and help you get set up with the software. You'll also be using, obviously in this class, Blackboard. You'll be using Google Drive, Google Docs, which I'll introduce you to in the first week, and you'll need a Gmail account for this class. So if you don't have one, you'll need to set one up. You can set one up for free at gmail.com, or you can go to bsu.edu/webmail and set up a Google account through your Ball State email. Let's take a look at the course components. This course is broken up into several types of assignments. You'll have quizzes and minute essays, which I'll explain in a minute, each week. You'll have weekly assignments, which make up the largest portion of the course. You'll have instructor meetings, so you'll have 3 meetings, actually I think it's 4 meetings, I keep changing it, throughout the semester with me to review your work. You'll have a final project, a final design document that describes your final project, a final exam, and a final presentation in which you'll present your work in this class. Now, this class is focused around a main project, which is creating a website for a client. Now, in the past, in my in-person classes, I've allowed students to choose their own client, and in this class, if you want to choose your own client, that's fine. I just ask that you propose the client to me. There are some things in this class that are going to be somewhat prohibitive. You're going to need to make, for an example, an infographic and a photo story, so I just want to make sure that the client you choose has possibilities for those things. Now, most should. Most of the clients that you're choosing would have the ability for you to make an infographic or photo story, but occasionally I'll find a client that's really not possible. So I'm going to ask you, if you're not using a Ball State client, to just propose it to me, but I don't by any means want you to think that it's harder to work with your own client or that I see it any differently. The only reason I'm asking you to propose it, again, is just so I can advise you on whether or not it's going to be appropriate, but for the most part, they almost always are. I think out of the 5 or so times I've taught this class, I've only said no to 2 or 3 client proposals. So don't panic if you want to work with your own client and you're kind of like, why do I have to use a proposal form? I just want to make sure that the client you choose is going to work out for you and not make this class harder for you than it is going to be for everyone else. If you don't have a client in mind, you're welcome to choose a Ball State department or major. In this class, you're going to be creating a content strategy and implementing that strategy by creating publishable content for your client. So you can choose a Ball State department or major that you want to work with. That's totally fine with me. You can even choose the PR major, the advertising major, the journalism major. That's all fine. And if you don't want to work with one of those clients, but you don't really know about, have any ideas on your own client, please let me know, because I do have clients who actually come to me throughout the year and want to know if I can build a website for them, and I really don't have time to help them. So I have a backlog of clients who are available and willing to have students work on their projects. I just can't work with them in my free time. I don't have free time for that. So if you want to work with your own client, you don't want to work with a Ball State client, just let me know. I'll try and suggest something to you. Now, this course relies heavily on Blackboard because it is an online course, and most of what you need for the class can be found in the weekly assignment section of Blackboard. The syllabus obviously can be found in the syllabus section. Requirements and deliverables are clearly outlined on the folder for each week in the assignment section of Blackboard. So each week I've listed out on the syllabus and in each week's folder exactly what it is that you need to do. So all of the readings are there, all of the lectures are there, the assignments, everything. There's nothing that you need to do that's not in the weekly assignments section. If you're new to Blackboard, I've put together a playlist on my YouTube channel called Online Learning Skills. Some of them are probably not going to appeal to you because I teach some freshman classes, and so some of the videos are geared towards people who are just starting college, but some of them I think will be really helpful for you if you've never used Blackboard before. For example, I have videos on how to speed up or slow down YouTube videos. So if I talk too fast, you can slow down the video. If you think that I talk too slow or you just get bored of my voice, you can speed up the video. I know that I personally, for some reason, have a better understanding of a video if I watch it in fast motion, which sort of seems counterintuitive, but it really works for me. So I have a video in the Online Learning Skills playlist on how to speed up and slow down videos. I have a video on how to view assignment rubrics. For most of the assignments in this class, rubrics are available showing you how you're being graded. So I have a video on how to look those up. And I have a video on how to access the course calendar so you can see what's due each week. Blackboard puts together a calendar for you for all of your online classes showing what's due and when. If you want to watch any videos from this playlist, you can go to bit.ly/368bb. You can remember that is bit.ly/368, the course number, and then BB for Blackboard. Throughout my time teaching online, I've taught several classes online. I've noticed that one difficulty with teaching online is that in the classroom, if someone asks a question, I answer it in front of everybody, and so everybody benefits from having that question answered. And I'm trying to bring that same concept into the online classroom by using a frequently asked questions discussion board on Blackboard. So if you have a question that you think the rest of the class would benefit from, feel free to ask it in the frequently asked questions discussion board and I'll answer it there. If you would prefer not to, you can email me your question, and if I think the question is important for other students, I'll post it for you anonymously in the frequently asked questions section. So if you have questions about the course, check the frequently asked questions section. Now, this is the first time I'm teaching 368 online, so there's not really anything there right now, but throughout the course I'll start adding frequent questions and my answers. Now, to get started on Blackboard, you'll probably notice you've checked the weekly assignments section and there is nothing there. In order to get started in this class, you'll need to download the syllabus, read it, and mark it as reviewed in order to open up the course and see the weekly assignments. So let's take a look at how you do that. Okay, so I have Blackboard open and I'm in the 368 course. You'll see if I go to weekly assignments, there is nothing there. It's telling me to add content, but you should actually just see nothing. So what you'll want to do is click on syllabus and download the syllabus and then mark it reviewed. When you mark this reviewed, the weekly assignments will open up and you'll be able to see all of the assignments. So you'll be able to click on each of these folders and see what it is that you're doing that week. Once you've marked the syllabus reviewed and you have access to the weekly assignments, you want to get started by looking at week 1. This week, you're going to get started with Google Docs and Drive, so I'll show you around Google Docs and Drive. You're going to create a short intro video introducing yourself to the course. You'll send me the link to your video and I'll post them on a course blog that I'll send the link out to everybody so you can meet your classmates. And then you will take a short quiz on content strategy, which I'll also introduce you to this week. Now, speaking of quizzes, in this class there's 2 different types of quizzes. Some quizzes are multiple choice, but research tells us that multiple choice quizzes don't actually test understanding. Generally, they test memorization, and some weeks it is important that you memorize things, but some weeks it's more important that you show understanding of a topic. So some weeks you'll have multiple choice quizzes, and some weeks you'll have what I call minute essay quizzes, which if you've taken 348, you're probably familiar with, or if you've taken my social media class. This is a type of quiz that I use in the minor I teach in, and so does the director of the minor. So if you've had any of our classes, you've probably seen them before, but for those of you who are uninitiated, minute essay quizzes are quizzes in which I'll ask you 2 questions and you are required to provide several lengthy paragraphs as an answer, including citations of the reading and video lectures. So you're not just going to say, you know, if I ask you to explain what content strategy is, you're not just going to say, well, I think content strategy is this or this. You're going to say, you know, according to Christina Halverson in our reading this week on page 28, content strategy is blank. However, Scott also tells us that content strategy is this. So you need to cite the reading. You also need to cite the video lectures. So this is not an either or. It's not like either cite the reading or the lectures. You need to cite both. And you will get a 0 if you don't cite either. So you want to make sure you're citing both. And you'll also need to make sure your essay response shows an assessment of what you learned. So it's not your sort of your opinion or an example of something that you think relates to the week. You need to take the question and bring in that knowledge from the reading and videos and show me that you've learned it. Now, I'll always tell you what kind of quiz you have, whether it's multiple choice or whether it is minute essays. Quizzes are timed, and times will be shown to you before you start the quiz. So for minute essays, each week you have 2 questions. You get 10 minutes for each question. Now for minute essays, I'll always provide possible essay questions in that week's folder. So let's take a look at week 1 really quick. Okay, I am in the week 1 folder, and you'll see toward the bottom, the quizzes are almost always toward the bottom. Here's the potential questions that I can ask you, and then here's the quiz. So when you start the quiz, you'll get 2 of these questions. Now, a lot of students will prepare for the minute essay by pre-writing the answers, by taking these 4 questions and writing answers to all of them, or creating outlines, putting bullet points for each question. That way, when you start the quiz and you only have 20 minutes, it'll be a lot easier for you to accomplish the goal of what you're writing in 20 minutes. So I'll always tell you whether you have a multiple choice quiz or whether you have a minute essay quiz. That's everything I want to talk about as far as the course setup. I want to sort of move into some discussion of course expectations. One is contacting me. Although I do have an office on Ball State's campus in AJ 244, my office hours also are virtual, and I'm generally not on campus Mondays and Wednesdays. So for my virtual office hours, I'll be online on Skype and Google Hangouts from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on all Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll also be in my office at AJ 244 unless for some reason I can't get to campus, for example, if there's a blizzard or something like that, which sounds about right for the beginning of spring semester. But I will be online always from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and almost always I'll be in AJ 244. You also can make an appointment with me, not necessarily in my office hours. I mean, you can make an appointment in my office hours, but you also can make an appointment outside of my office hours. And you can find me on Skype. If you ever see me on Skype or GChat and I'm active and I don't have an away message, feel free to contact me. You can make an appointment with me by going to doodle.com/McNames, and this will show you my schedule. Any hours between normal work hours, 8 to 5, that my schedule is open, you can request a meeting with me, even on days that are not my office hours days. So I feel like I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. If you have questions, you can email them. If you want to meet, if you want to Skype or do a Google Hangout, I'm pretty open to that as well. As far as emailing me, please use my Gmail address, megan.mcnames@gmail.com. Please allow 24 hours for me to respond to your email. Most of the time, I'll get your email within an hour or 2, but I'm not always able to answer even if I've gotten it. So make sure that you have enough time to get my response and take appropriate action. So if you have a question about an assignment that's due Friday at 5, emailing me Thursday at 5 isn't really going to guarantee that you get an answer before the assignment is due. That gives you enough time to take my answer into account and change or begin or whatever your project. So think about that when you're emailing me. Make sure you give me at least 24 hours and that you give yourself time after that to then get the assignment done before it's due. If you don't get a response within 24 hours, please resend it. It's possible that your email went to my junk folder or something else happened and I didn't see it or I haven't gotten it. So if you don't get a response, don't assume that I'm not responding. Assume that I didn't get it. Couple online course tips just to go over really quickly. Assignments are due at 5 on the day that they are due. Quizzes usually are due Wednesday. This first week they're not due till Friday so that you have enough time to get acquainted with the course. Most assignments are due Friday, but it does change. Sometimes you'll have an assignment due Wednesday because you'll need to get feedback from me before your next assignment is due on Friday. So make sure you keep the schedule in your mind, that you check the Blackboard schedule and you know when things are due. I would suggest printing the syllabus and having that handy. After you submit your assignment, what I would suggest is immediately go to the next week and maybe print out the to-do list or look over the materials and make sure that if you have any questions, you send me an email about it. While you're in Blackboard submitting an assignment, that's a great time to go ahead and print out next week's assignments so you know exactly what's expected of you for the next week. That's everything that I wanted to talk about. I really look forward to working with you in this course. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or concerns. I'm really available online all the time. I know online courses can sometimes present unique challenges, especially if you've never taken one before, but I really don't want you to feel like you need to struggle needlessly. No question is too small to send me. If you have questions about how to use Blackboard or how to upload an assignment, please send them my way. I don't want you to sort of struggle over it and worry about if you've done something the right way. Just ask. I'll always be happy to help. That's everything that I wanted to cover. I look forward to seeing your work in this class and meeting you in your intro video this week. Thanks.